John, now you've collected Rogers for years.
I did.
Had
Yes.
tons of kits. So can you talk briefly about your experience with Rogers and what you've had over the years, and then eventually get around to your honest, unbiased, what do you think of the new stuff?
Well, the most notable aspect is they've fixed the hardware problem.
Yeah.
Because if especially this tom mount here, they used to have this knob of metal right here, a round orb, if you will, and it had three or four little screws that you kind of try to get them in the right position, and after a year or two, this whole thing will be eaten up by changes in position, and then of course they stop working, and so this thing will be flopping around depending on which way you tightened it up. It was a nightmare, and it's great to see Rogers back. What a wonderful history. And it's great to see that they've improved on these. I guess they realized, you got to get this thing straightened out.
Yeah.
And they did a great job, actually. Everything else on the drums, the old bread and butter lugs, I guess, those didn't have a great history.
Yeah, they would break as well.
Yeah, but
everything has been updated. I like the look of this because it looks like a vintage tom arm, like they used to make them, but with the modern upgrades to it. So they did a really good job at that.
do you know that Rogers is making the old lugs?
Yes.
Yes, good.
Yes. Yep.
That's an interesting
Yeah.
thing, the bread and butter lugs.
Yes.
Yeah, it is, and it's
They're made totally differently, but nonetheless.
all the stuff is cross compatible. So if
Yeah.
someone has a vintage drum that they're looking to fix one broken part on, or get a fresh set of lugs, which is a wild request, but you know what I mean. You can do that, or have a
Right.
piece fit in with what you have.
Right.
The only difference is that yours might be all scuffed up, but Sean will scuff them up for you before he sends them out to match how beat up your drum is, and then it'll
right.
match perfectly. This one's
That's
too
right.
shiny.
that.
We'll scuff it up a little
I'll
bit.
take it out on the road with me, and I'll
Throw it
play
around.
it, just
Yeah.
throw it around a little bit. That way it matches, and it's not like a sore thumb sticking out. The one bright lug that's beautiful and shiny. It's like that one's new.
Yeah.
You replace that one.
Yeah. I do want to touch briefly on Big R Rogers. The Big R badge is what we're referring to. A lot of folks have had experience with Rogers drums, and they're not talking about the 60s era of Rogers that we all love, and that's kind of like the heritage that's being brought back. I looked up Big R, and I was trying to narrow it down, and a lot of people said that that style started mid-70s with that Big R badge, but continued, obviously, into the late 90s. So heading into that later period of Rogers, of the Rogers Big R badge, there was a lot of stuff being outsourced, a lot of overseas. Those are not Rogers USA kits. So if your experience with a Rogers kit was potentially subpar as far as the shells or construction or quality, there's chance that it was from that era.
That's right.
And I think that's really important that folks realize that with any legacy company that's been around forever, there might be little patches of learning or missteps.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see that the product that's coming back in is the high quality USA made stuff.
And there was also another brief period of time where Yamaha had acquired the name Rogers, and it may have only been 2 years that they produced drums. Really, what they were just entry level drums with the Rogers name on it.
Yeah.
But that didn't last too long. But you may even have one of those. But that is not what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, and I know early Big R stuff said Made in USA on it.
Okay.
So there was like there's some gems out there. There's some gems in there. Not saying that the other stuff is falling apart spontaneously, but it might not have been like this is a premier high end product that they're producing, and that era might not have lived up to that hype. But yeah, I think the overall take on the new stuff is it's Drums Etc. approved, guys. So if you want to check any of it out and you are local, come into Drums Etc. If not, support your local drum shops. Reach out to them, see if they're stocking the Rogers stuff, see if they even have a drum or some of the hardware that you can check out, just so you can see the quality of it and know and make an educated purchase.
Yeah.
But it's exciting.